Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over some new things. Sorry for the delay on the videos. It's just I've been really trying lately to get some stuff done so I can show you guys some updates, and I've been waiting on a lot with the COVID thing and just everybody getting behind. It's been kind of delay central here. So we'll kind of go over some things. As you can see, not much has changed with the Civic itself, but a lot has changed with everything that's got to go into it, which hopefully now in the next few weeks and next month, the car will really start to take shape because I've talked about before, one of the main things, the bolts. Those have been done for probably a month now, maybe even a little longer than that. I just tried not to make 2 trips to go get them. I was waiting for a container to come in so I can get my new dash for this thing. I don't know if I told you guys, the original dash came in, it had a mark on top of the cowl panel and it kind of bugged me. So Aaron from JDM Ohio Direct has been trying to find a mint dash for me, and I think he actually found one. It came in about a day or 2 ago. From there, hopefully we'll go in the next week, pick that up, pick my bolts up, which are in the same town. Big thanks to Steve for holding those for me and taking care of getting those coated. I'm really excited to see those. I mean, it's like, the car will have all new bolts, which is kind of cool. They're refinished, but new in sense. But let's show you guys some of the new stuff going on. I did do a lot to the garage. This is pretty much the same. Got my little mini mill set up over there with the belt sander. Car's obviously right there. Well, there's the BMW. Got a workbench set up now so I can assemble. There's my little cart with some of the parts on it. BMW motor, some tires, and this is the biggest update. It is a vapor blast cabinet. So let me position this to get a little better. So this is what I've been building for the last 2 months, and it's taken forever just because some of the parts. But what this does is it takes a water and glass bead mixture and blasts parts. So I'll show you real quick. I've done Andy's cases, well, one of his cases for his transmission. The other's half done, but it gives it kind of like an OEM finish. It's a bit more dull than an OEM finish. If you look up like what factory Honda transmissions and blocks look like, the factory casting, it's a little shinier than mine, but I wanted more of a uniform finish than factory, but I still wanted like that factory feel. I still think I need to mess with my media a little bit. Right now I have a it's supposed to leave more of a dull finish media. I might just mess with it a little bit. The guy I got the plans from, Matt, I will put the link to his YouTube channel. I highly recommend, if anybody's thinking about buying one of these or doing the route I did to save some money and building one, his plans make it super easy. It's still time consuming. He will tell you it's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to build this. I probably have 50, 60 hours in building it, if not more. That's just a pure guess. But like I said, it took me 2 months when I first started. I waited a little bit here and there on parts, but with working and doing other stuff, it took me 2 months to put together. And it's, like I said, it's pretty intricate setup when we go over it. But here's my block. My block came out a little different than Andy's cases. My block was a little bit cleaner. It didn't have as much corrosion. So here's that. I think I need to go over it one more time I missed a couple spots if you look closely, but it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the results. I need to mess with the media a little bit. Like I said, that's just something that I'm gonna have to get used to doing and kind of perfect before I do a lot of stuff. I did end up taking the motor apart. When I did Andy's cases, I really noticed that I was gonna try and do the motor and like tape everything off and do it as a short block, but I noticed that media got everywhere. So even though it's really fine, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start wiping bearings and stuff. So I did take apart the motor, the bottom end. The bearings look okay. I'm gonna replace them. I'm probably gonna go with like probably OEM or like an ACL race bearing, and then gonna re-ring these, clean them up, put new with the head. I got the head off too. The crank looks pretty clean. I won't have to get any machine work done. Like I said, the motor had probably been rebuilt right before I bought it, a little bit before, so it's pretty clean. It's just the bearings. There were a couple spots on them that bothered me, and I'm like, you know what, I have them out, so we'll go from there. But there's the head. The head's pretty clean, so I'm gonna blast it and make it perfect in my opinion. So I gotta disassemble all this, get it ready. I'm just going to probably reseat the valves and clean them up, and then do like valve seals, check the valve guides and all that, but nothing major. I'm gonna keep it all stock, so no cams or anything. I'd like to do cams just to give it a little more flavor, make it a little spicy, but it's one of those. I'm just gonna leave it for now. But here we'll look at too. I did some of these parts. So you can see the finish it's kind of different. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. I like it because it is super uniform, and it'll make everything look fresh and nice and new and clean, instead of like the grittiness that you get. Like here's an old casing. That casing's pretty bad. These are Andy's the transmission that you guys saw in a previous video that blew up. This is a GSR casing that blew up, so I think it's GSR. Might be B60. I don't know. It's hard to keep up sometimes. So I'll kind of go over the blast cabinet build a little bit. So if you guys are interested, you can hear my take, some of the areas where I messed up and where I think the route I did wasn't right. So we'll go over it first. Wish I could get a better view of it. Okay, well, insert fancy editing skills that I don't have. I was gonna try to set the camera up on the chair right there and give you guys kind of a overall view, but I didn't think that you would get an in-depth enough view if you guys are interested. So I'll just hold it and shake the entire time, so forgive me there. Okay, anyway, here comes the ramble. So the cabinet, this is the inside. It's dirty, it's messy. I went with the front open door. This is an Eastwood cabinet, where all Matt's cabinets are side load. So his are more sealed. This one, every time you open the door to flip a part or check something, like a bigger part, it throws media and everything kind of out it, and the floor gets wet because everything drains. And if you look from the side, yeah, just drains straight on the floor. So that's kind of irritating to me, but I probably would still build this style cabinet just because I wanted the front load. I really like the front load. So we'll go over, the media comes in here, the slurry mix comes in here, the air comes in this fitting, so just a bulkhead fitting to hose, and then it comes into this gun. This is a Tacoma company gun. This is their special deluxe gun. Matt recommended this a while ago, so I ended up going with this because it was supposed to get here sooner. This is what I was waiting on for a long time. Matt makes his own guns now. I'd probably recommend going with those two. Either one, though, he says is good. They're both about the same price, about $200 to $230. Then we have, but a good gun will make a big difference in the efficiency of your blaster. And then this is the fresh water rinse. So you hit this and fresh water will come out to rinse all the media and stuff off. The inside of the cabinet is coated with Flex Seal. I'm not going to go over kind of everything. I'm just going to do quick, like the components, because if you want to go through everything, I would recommend checking out his channel. This is just a fresh water rinse that's on a timer that's set to when you press the pedal, it goes and sends fresh water to the windshield wiper setup, which is on there. And that's the one thing I recommend too. I didn't change my gloves. He recommends these sealed gloves. They're one piece. Well, mine leak. As you can tell, your hands get a little moist. So I'm gonna change those. This is the wiper motor setup. It's got low, high speed, park. This is the feed for the water for the wiper system. So I can adjust the flow with this, and then this is just a solenoid that's, when you press the pedal, it turns the motor on and turns this on at the same time. As soon as you let off, it stops both of them. And then this just adds the fresh water so you don't scratch the crap out of it. And then got the light up here. And then this button turns on the Wi-Fi controlled, oh, that's kind of going crazy. But anyway, that says 50 and that says 70 as the set point. This is a Wi-Fi controlled thermostat unit, which if you hear inside the tank, this is the sump pit. There's a pump, it's like a trash pump that picks up the slurry mix. And then there's also in there there's a box right there with temperature, like a probe to heat the water. It's pretty much like what's in water heaters and stuff, so nothing fancy. Plugs into 110 right here into the front of it, and then you could set this to whatever you want. And it's very important to have this. I tried it at first with cold water because I wanted to hurry up and use the machine, and I didn't finish the heater, the immersion heater that Matt said you should use. So then I bought all the stuff to do it. But, well, I already had it, I just finished it. So turn that off. This is the inlet for the fresh water. It goes down through, and then there's a pump right here, which pumps fresh water from this bin. So what happens is there's a pinch valve right there, and then a solenoid that controls it up here. So then the timer in the box is set to 2-minute delay is what I have it set at. So when you let off the pedal, 2 minutes go by, it opens up this valve, and then the water goes into here. Then there's a piece of PVC pipe that goes through, so it lets the media go down to the bottom, and then the water comes through into here, and it's supposed to be a bit cleaner, but yeah, it's all right, it's pretty clean. And then that sucks the fresh water to clean your parts and the glass and so on. These two, this is for the air setup. This is for the media. So there's your sump, pretty much all your sump setups. This is the air inlet in, and then it branches off. This is the regulator for the sump. This is for the solenoid for the pinch valve. And then this is a regulator for the foot pedal and the main air pressure. So it's all fed from this. This is a QT54, 60 gallon, 5-horse Quincy. That's probably the smallest I would recommend. I got a really good deal on it, so I went with that. I kind of wanted to go with an 80 gallon IR, but I really like the Quincy stuff, so I got that locally. Place was shutting down, so got like 30% off, which is pretty cool. These are the boxes with all the electronics that are in them. It's actually pretty complicated, but Matt does a really good job at going through how to do it step by step. So that's the pump turning on for the fresh water. Then just an hour meter so you can kind of keep track of where you're at. It's a pretty cool system. It's pretty simple once you actually start getting into it. At first it gets kind of overwhelming because you're like, there's couple hundred parts to put together and fit everything. So it does take some time, and that's what took me the longest. But now that it's done, it's pretty cool. With compressor, I probably have close to 4,500 to $5,000 into the whole system. To buy a cabinet from Vapor Honing Technologies, it's about $7,000 to $75,000 for a closed loop system like this is designed to be. So you kind of sit down. you kind of save a little bit of money. You kind of understand the process a little bit better. The vapor honing cabinets are from Vapor Hone Technologies are probably way nicer. They're stainless cabinets, so you don't have to line them and everything. This gets the job done, and I'm not going to be, if I was doing it as a business, I'd probably spend a lot more time building a cabinet or buy a pre-built one. But I wanted to do this as a hobbyist. I'm gonna do friend stuff here and there. So I probably would have waited a little bit if I was trying to make a lot of money and get a huge cabinet. But Matt does a great job at, today is kind of, it's been a while since I made a video, at showing you different things, and he's had hundreds of hours on his cabinets. So, I mean, they work. Some of the quirks with my cabinet, like opening the door and media getting everywhere, it bugs me. Like the floor is always gonna be dirty over here, and I gotta come up with a solution, probably buy a little M18, little shop vac, little hand one to suck up that media. But I'm not gonna be using it every day. I'll probably use it once a month after this thing's done. So from there, definitely happy to have it done. It's a cool thing. I'm gonna put the link below. You can check out his channel. I highly recommend it. He does motorcycle rebuild stuff, like older dirt bikes and stuff like that. And he's actually building an LS car right now. And he goes through kind of like from the garage guy's standpoint, which I really like, and he makes a lot of his own stuff. And the time he has involved in making this cabinet, and for the $100 you pay for the plans, it's far worth money. He gives you a list of every part you need and where to get them, and updates the links and stuff. And I emailed him because I had a question, and literally within 20 minutes, email me back. And super nice guy. Highly recommend, check him out, and build yourself a cabinet if you really want one. I'm happy I built one. It's been a pain in the butt. I got to tweak it a bunch. I've got some little leaks here and there. That's just my fault of assembling it. You're gonna have that issue ever, but it works. As you can tell, you get this. I got what I wanted out of it. Next thing we'll kind of go over with the Civic, give you a little bit of an update. These are the rear trailing arms. So these will be the next thing I go over. I'm going to strip them down, take the trailing arm bushings out, take the brakes apart, clean off the paint. I'm hoping that I can clean them up good enough to leave the factory finish. The front subframe cleaned up beautifully, and it has all the factory markings, and I really think that's cool. I'm probably gonna have to repaint those. I don't want to sandblast them and paint them or powder coat them, but I'm probably gonna have to from the look of it. We'll see how it goes. I'll fill you guys in. I've got all the stuff to rebuild those. That'll be next. The front knuckles, I'm gonna refinish too, put all new bearings, all new stuff on them. So that will be what I'll be working on probably this week. And when I get the bolts in 2 weeks, I'll be able to bolt all the suspension back on, actually start making the car look like a car again. Hopefully within the next month, I'll have all the tooling and the stuff. You guys will be along with that ride with me. I've never put a motor together. Kind of was nervous about it, but I told myself, I'm like, you know what? You can figure it out. Worst case scenario, it blows up. Then it'd be a cool video. But I'll be putting that together probably in the next month. I'm gonna get together, get all the bearings that I need, all the parts from Honda, get a couple of the tooling things I needed. 4Piston has a really cool valve seal install tool I wanna get. I need to get a valve spring tool, and then Moroso and Wiseco make a really cool tapered piston ring compressor to install the pistons. I'm gonna get one of those. The last thing I want to show you guys with the whole new shop build thing is I got a Langmuir Systems table. I've always wanted a fab table. I've always wanted a good area to do fab stuff. So I made the purchase. They're expensive, but I really think they're worth it. I modified it a little bit. I bought some Bickle casters that have the rubber leveling feet, so you go down on these and that. So I got to paint all that, but I made adapter plates and then I welded them on. So these are the legs that you buy with the table kit. They bolt on real nice. The reason I like this table a lot compared to the Certiflat table is the Certiflat, you have to clamp it and weld it. It's just a plate. This table is actually cast steel and they machine it flat. So if you look underneath it, it's like one solid piece. And the chances of getting it flat are perfect. Now, people have said they've seen like casting marks and stuff on their tables. My table doesn't have any casting marks. So I was really stoked to get that. I'm going to, I got to build a double cart for my TIG welder and my MIG setup to sit right here. And then hopefully I can sit down and finally be able to TIG my own parts. I'm not good enough yet to do my stuff, so I usually take it to people who are experts at it because I want everything to look really nice. But hopefully in the next 6 months I can get a little better at that and just start doing my own stuff, because everybody's getting busier now and it's hard sometimes to get stuff done all the time. This is a mount I made, so you can see it bolts on table, 5/8 bolts. It's a 2.5 inch square stock with a 2-inch kind of like receiver, and then this bolt is just a nut welded and you tighten it and it stops it, and then this is just a collar so it sits against it so my welds up here don't sit and it rocks, so it's supposed to be flat. But that's for my vise mount. So then you can lift the vise out of there. You can keep the vise. I'm gonna keep the vise on there most of the time. But then over here, I have my Schwag Off-Road setup for my bandsaw table. And it's got, if you look back there, has one of those pins, drop-in pins. And I also have the steamer. I started steaming, forgot about that. I started steaming off the brake lines and stuff so they look nice and fresh, and the fuel lines. So I'm gonna put those back under the car and hopefully get going. Like I said, that's it. So all the updates I have for you guys. Hopefully, like I said, in the next week or two, I'll have more updates. Once I get those bolts, I can actually start assembling the car. I put off going to get them just because I didn't want to make 2 trips to Ohio and I was busy with the blast cabinet. So I didn't really, I knew I wouldn't have time to use them. So I was like, well, I'll just put it off. Kind of disappointed I did, because I probably could have started making the car look like a car again. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get the motor back in too. I need to paint the front fenders and stuff because they did have a little damage. I'll show you guys. I'll bring them in the garage out of the basement and show you guys. When the car was in the, I don't know if I told the story, when the car was in the container, it was on the top of the container and they used cables to suspend it, and it shifted a little bit and the front fenders got caught. So it damaged the paint. So they can be fixed though. It's just luckily it's a white car, so it should be easy to color match frost white. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for sticking around. I know progress has been kind of here and there, but I promise it'll be worth it. And let's have some fun during the way. Thanks.